Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. With me, we've got Joe and Aaron. What is up, fellas? How's your weekend? So, are you eating, Joe? How rude.
I'm eating
rude.
I'm eating ice.
There you go. I usually mute myself. Somebody got all mad I was eating last week or whatever. Oh, and somebody else said, how's this the Daily HiFi? Shouldn't it be weekly HiFi?
No, that is a good point.
Technically, but we do drop a video pretty much every day.
That's no, that's how I responded. Yeah. So what do we got going on? Aaron,
yes.
Glad to see you, buddy.
What's up?
You said you went to describe what you were talking about backstage. You went to a car meet and you had a car buddy that.
I wish I had taken pictures, but I was just, I was meeting up with friends I hadn't seen in like 4 years. So I went to, it's called like Car Audio World Finals, but it's not really World Finals. It's just like whoever can make it to this location in the U.S.
Finals.
This year it was in Birmingham. Yeah, like this year it was in Birmingham, Alabama. There was like maybe 50 or so different people there. And so I started competing in car audio around 2007 or 2008. And I was pretty heavy into it until a few years ago, and I'm going to get back into it this new season, so the 2024 season. So I just went to hang out with friends. It's like an hour drive from me, and I got to listen to some really nice car stereos. And the goal, for those who don't know, with that side of car audio, is for sound quality. So you try to make it sound as good as it possibly can, and your goal really is to try to make it sound like a reference 2-channel system. And some people are getting into multi-channel setups, but that's kind of a little bit further out. And one of the cars that I got to listen to, I was telling these guys about it backstage, is my friend Gerald Costa, who I've known about 8 or so years. I met him at an event in North Carolina that my buddy Jason Bartholomew puts on at his house. And Gerald, I believe, is retired. He was an electrician, so he was in the trade. And he took his big panel van, like this huge work truck van thing, not van, but I guess really it is a work truck. And it's crazy. So it's normal driving, right? And then what he does for demos is he has this on like a track, the chair. He slides it over to the center of the car, and then you're in the perfect position. So you're in the center of the vehicle, and then he'll take the car and he'll plug it in to an outlet at these shows, and that's how he feeds the car. So it's not off 12 volt, it's off 120 volt, like your home system. It's nuts, dude. And he's got 10-inch mid bass up at the top of the car. I think 5 or so inch focal drivers midway, RAL tweeters at the bottom that are about ear height, and a subwoofer behind you. And he says that he's not running anything else, but I told him, and this is to his face, and if Gerald, you happen to watch this, you know that I think you're full of crap, because the car does some crazy stuff. Now, I'll be honest, as far as like a pure 2-channel system, it does things that's very distracting, but at the same time, they're kind of fun and neat. So that was a experience for sure. Gerald's a good guy. He's a flat earther, but other than that, he's a good guy. And so I got to listen to a few other buddies' cars, and just I hung out, man. I got there around maybe 10 o'clock, left at around 7 o'clock. I pretty much stood up all day just talking to friends, and that's what it's about. That's why I like going to the meets and the get-togethers and the shows, because you get to meet up with friends and meet new people in person and share the passion. And I got to sit in cars and give feedback and talk about, hey, it sounds like in the mid-range, the vocalist is at the center of the stage, but in the lower mid-range, maybe below 200 hertz, the vocalist is to the right. So you need to work on your time alignment, maybe some of your amplitude. You need to work on phase alignment, things like that, to get everything locked in place from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. And doing that as a hobby for the longest time really taught me how to listen, but it also taught me, personally speaking, I'm more hands-on, so it taught me how to better identify how to fix problems. So if you hear something, it's not right, that's different from being able to identify where it's not right and what to do to fix it. And being in car audio for so long and trying to maintain and achieve like a really good reference 2-channel system taught me so much more about audio than I would have ever learned from home audio. Because in home audio, dude, you sit in the middle of the speakers and that's it. There's really no having to mess with time alignment. If your room is relatively symmetrical, you don't really have to worry about equalization for the left speaker and the right speaker and trying to make them match to get that symmetry. You don't have to worry about amplitude adjustments. It's most of the stuff is already baked into the speaker that you're listening to. So at most, you are going to try to do that with the subwoofer to the mains. But in home audio, very interesting too, that there's not a lot of resources available DSP wise. I mean, it's becoming more prevalent with stuff like the mini DSP, but in car audio, you have to have DSP, and you have to have pretty powerful DSP to get things to sound even remotely good. I mean, it'll sound all right, but with timing and phase, you'll barely have an image. Tonally, it'll sound all right, but as far as imaging goes, forget that crap without DSP or some significant cutting and modifications of the vehicle itself. So that's why I say, you know, my first love is BMX, my second love is car audio, and I'm really looking forward to get back into it the next season. And
I can't wait for you to combine the two and see your tricked out BMX with all these speakers.
So here's how do you find the new cars? You know, because a lot of the new cars, they have, I think, pretty decent systems, and you can't really change stuff out easily. Like back in the day, you could change out your head unit. Now, if you can't touch that because it connected to all your other stuff, it controls everything. So you can't change out, you know, the main the head unit part.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And that's the control center, right? So if you can't change that out, what do you do? So what I've seen a lot of people do is they'll basically bypass their car's head unit and they'll get a DAP of some sort. You know, maybe they'll use their iPhone, or they'll actually go out and buy a nice quality Astle and Kern type DAC, and then they'll have that routed via a coaxial cable or optical cable to a DSP. So they completely bypass the car's system entirely. Right. And other people like myself, I didn't want to do that because I don't like fidgeting with different players. So in my Tesla, I actually had the guys who did the install take the speaker level inputs and run it into a DSP. And then the DSP, I do all the configuration of channel mapping and things like that. The signal may not be as clean, possibly, as something like a DAP with the coaxial output, but it's good enough, and I don't have to fool with that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people that compete too are still also using older cars. The ones that I see the most coming along are trucks. There's so many trucks that we saw there, and newer trucks, like 2018 and up trucks. And Alpine and other companies make kits for these, so where you can take out the radio, and yes, it pulls out the OEM AC controls and things like that, but this new thing will also have that built in, but you're going to pay $2,000 or $3,000. Now when you get beyond that, I don't really have a lot of expertise in it, but that's just kind of what I see going on.
Yeah, I've seen I have the JBL MS8, right?
Yeah, I had that.
It has to undo a lot of stuff. Like, so if you plug it into a BMW system, that already has its own DSP, and it tries to like undo the stuff that it's doing, so that you can start with a flat response. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. What vehicle is the most conducive to a good car audio system? Like, if you just look, you're like, which one? But okay, go.
It's an old car. So
I mean, it's easier with an old car for sure, because there's less stuff to have to get around.
Imagine, like, we have a minivan for the kids, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, it's pretty wide. There's a lot of places to put speakers. It's like an old school, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I feel like the wider the space and the more open, like the less stuff that's in the way.
This guy right here.
It's a decent sounding system. What is like a system? What's a car that seems like it would be good for that?
Right here. I don't have the.
You think so?
No, we know so. So if you put speakers in the back here, you put a subwoofer in the back here. This arc of the roof actually has like a good. It disperses it like out more like evenly, away from the car. Like, it's crazy. It's like a waveguide. Yeah.
My old neighbor had 215s in his Beetle.
Yeah.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, that's what I was going to say is hatchbacks, usually are a little bit easier when it comes to subwoofer. And it's kind of for the same reason that Chana, it actually is for the same reason that Chana's saying, squared off trunks and things like that, they create problems. The closer you can put the subwoofer to the rear of the vehicle, like like the actual trunk lid, the better off you are. A lot of times people will put them at that trunk wall separator. And what happens is you get a cancellation from that rear trunk right back at the listening position. And it's usually around 60 hertz. And then you've got a cancellation on the left side driver mid bass that's around 80 hertz. So there's really no way to try to, like, you can't cross the subwoofer up too high because you'll run into that null, and you can't cross the front mid bass too low because you'll run into that null, and you create audible issues like queuing issues. But to answer your question, I think in a more succinct way is just to say that it depends on if you're going with like an OEM look, because a lot of the OEM vehicles now will have dashboard mid-ranges firing up at the windshield, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that actually works out really well, because the closer you can move it to that reflecting surface, the less like a reflecting surface it acts as.
Yeah.
So, but the only problem there is the tweeter. So then you got to put the tweeter somewhere else. And I don't know if I've seen factory radios with the tweeters in the same location as the mid-range on the dash. Usually they're in the sail panel or maybe the A pillar. And that distance of separation creates issues with comb filtering, lobing, power handling for the tweeter or for the mid-range relative to the tweeter. So it creates its own issues, man.
So there's these guys will go crazy. Has like a generally better imaging, because usually the imaging and soundstage is the really tough. That's
Absolutely.
the hard part.
Hardest part.
Tonality, you can get tonality pretty decent, but the imaging is it's hard to make it so it's not sounding like you're in a car because you're in a car. So that's why I was wondering if a larger vehicle helps out with the acoustics rather than a smaller one as far as imaging.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah,
it can, but it can also create its own issues too.
Okay.
So there really is. It's just like everything else. It's a compromise. When I bought my last car, not the Tesla, but the Civic I had before, I bought a hatchback because I knew that it would work well for certain things. It didn't come with mid-ranges, so I had to pay my installer to pull my windshield out, custom build me a dash. I mean, dude, it was nuts. So I put mid-ranges up there.
So what do you get for winning? Like you get a prize?
Oh man, you don't
money?
Like is a trophy.
A trophy?
Yeah,
I've never competed in any car audio stuff, but it seems like it'd be kind of fun just to try to do something.
Dude, like I said, for me, it's the camaraderie, showing up, hanging out. Same reason I'm doing it with you guys, right? Like, I mean, realistically, what are we getting paid from this? Most of the money, if not all of it, goes straight to Tim, right? To help him do stuff. True. So I show up to hang out with you guys. It's the same reason most people compete.
Dude, I went all the way to North Carolina to hang out with Aaron. He totally ditched me, dude. He totally said, hey, no, man. I'm standing you up. I got stood up.
And I know what sucks too is that, like, most people will be like, oh, I understand, like your bag, don't worry about it. But Chana's like, yeah, I'm sitting on a donut the whole way coming from California.
Oh my gosh. Dude,
I have no excuse.
18 hours sitting on that fucking donut, bro. Yeah. And just to get there. And then the worst part is I've got my light in my hand, my backpack on, and my donut is hanging on my arm. So I had it with me. I will tell you, I had it with me the whole time. So people, I just say, sit on it. And people are just like, there's this one guy though. He was just like, hey man, he's from some screen company. I'm not gonna say the name because obviously know who it is. Is that for a hemorrhoid? And I was like, no. And when I told him what it was, he's like, I've had 3 of those. It's just like, it's like he was giving me a respect, and he's like, and you're running around, because I passed him like 6 times. This is like the 7th time passing this area, and he's like, you're running around doing all this stuff and filming. And it's like, I was like, oh yeah, it took me 18 hours to get here. It's gonna take the same amount of time to get back. He's like, oh. It's like, I got respect for you, man. Yeah, some old dude. I was just like, damn. All right, but yeah,
he's like mad respect.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Well, I'll definitely see you there next August.
Aaron. I plan to be there. I'm hoping to. I don't know if I may try to make the Florida show. I don't think you guys will be at that. But there's one.
The only time I'm going to Florida is for Chuck's barbecue or boat barbecue or boat party or something like that. That's when I'll go to Florida.
Yeah.
All right. Any new news? New news. Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot. Hey, forgot to say what's up to everybody in the chat.
There we go.
We got Tim in the house. Ripe Wave, how are you? What's going on? Fred just got a new projector screen and a projector. He got excellent advice in the after show. So if you're not part of the after show, you should definitely go to the after show. You join the channel thing, and
it only took like 2 months to convince him, something like that.
Yeah, but he ended up getting the AV10, and he's selling a kidney for the amp 10. You know.
Oh my goodness,
Victor, what's up, Larry? And Tristan said that the ads already started running in the live stream. So.
You know what? I have them so they're set to like either automatic or like I said, like the fewest you can make it is like every 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So it's either that or off.
And he said I'm too much of a cheapskate to just get YouTube. And you know what? YouTube Red or YouTube Premium, so you don't have ads. And I even told Sasha that too last night. I'm like, well, she's like, well, you won't see the ad. What do you mean you won't see the ad? I'm like, well, if you log into my account, you notice you don't see any ads.
That's right.
Yeah. And I totally made fun of my friend when we were going to to Reno for my little birthday excursion. You know, he's got a Spotify and it's all on my, stereo system in the Audi, and all of a sudden it's like it goes into an ad. I just burst out into laughter. I'm like, what's the matter, dude? You don't have $10, bro? Because he's always carrying out this big wad of cash and stuff. Like, you don't have $10 a month for the premium Spotify, the no ads?
I guess some people just don't watch a lot of YouTube, maybe.
Yeah.
I watch a ton of YouTube. So if it's between that and paying for like some other service, it's like I watch YouTube more than any other service. So
yeah, I actually I got it because it's annoying. Sunny Skies, what's up, man? How are you, buddy? You're in the he's in the I recognize that name
in our Discord group.
Discord group for the Spatial Toolkit. What's going on? Bodie McP, what's going on? Marv, what's happening? Eric, how are you doing? Links One, hey, thank you. Haven't seen that name before, but I did something the other day, and there's nothing bad. It's actually pretty cool.
You have to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Am I really that bad? I don't know. Maybe. And yeah, I'm just gonna play like I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'll show you guys what I did. And I know you guys a lot of you guys already know about my new mix. We shouldn't get copyright for this, Joe.
No, I guess not.
For this.
If it's your own, you shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, it's not my own. I mean, I paid a guy.
Snap. Thief.
Yeah.
I'm not playing on Zone 2 then.
So I finally released my newest Atmos mix and let it out for the public. You guys in the Discord for the Spatial Toolkit, you guys, this was posted a while back. Joe just heard it, and I'm glad you liked it, Joe. I'm glad you liked it.
I liked it. It's good.
I could care. I don't really, not that I don't care, but like, Joe's opinion weighs a little bit more on me than everybody else's, because people are like, oh, that's cool. But when Joe's like, dude,
I'm very critical.
This is really cool.
So if it wasn't good, I'd probably be like, that's cool, because I'll tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
So if I really say, hey, that was really good, there's carries weight. That's what I'm trying to say when it comes to like, I don't want to talk about other reviews, but the way I do reviews is I would like people to know when I really like something. Because if you always like something, then the next time you say it's kind of like crying wolf, right?
Yeah.
Every time you say it, it's just like, oh, well, everything's good. But if some things are not so good, and then there's one thing's really good, well, it's probably really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I thought it was very good.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I know what's funny is that, Jeremy, is he not in the chat? I didn't see him. Reverend Slims, he's like, hey, I heard you do this. Is this what you did? And I'm like, like, he's like, did you move sound from this location to that location? And just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, I didn't. Or did I? That's the beauty of it. I know exactly where the sounds are going. So it's fun to see what people's guesses are on what's actually moving around the room, because sometimes I do things to trick your ears. And Joe knows all about it. That's why he's kind of smirking over it. He's like, I know what Sean is talking about.
No, because almost says, "Oh, it's cool," equals it sucks.
I know.
Sometimes you got to decode, like,
dude. Even sometimes, like when I'm talking to people, like in real life, I'll be like, "Oh, that's interesting." Meaning, I've like no idea. I'm like, it's not that I don't have any idea. It's more like, I don't want to say anything bad.
I think that's interesting. When I do this, I'm like, that means It's
But
cool. If you like no bass and distortion, well, maybe this is for you.
Maybe this is the right speaker for you. What I also did was interesting this time around was I just posted all in every Facebook home theater group, and apparently that's against a lot of their policy because it's self-promotion, right? Yeah. One guy was like, normally I wouldn't let this slide, but this is just way too cool.
I actually saw that. Yeah, I saw it because when I saw that you posted, I was like, I'm curious if he'll get hit with something for this because I've gotten kicked off a Reddit group, home theater group.
Oh yeah.
Because when I first started doing it, I was shameless self-promotion. I ain't gonna lie, and I got kicked off. But then the best part is like I see that people have posted some of my videos before and they've tried to tag me, but they can't, and I can't talk about it. I'm just like, well,
I see. Yeah. The only one was the Denon AVR one. He was the only one that contacted me and said, hey man, this is promotion. So it's not like, he's like, I don't care about your post, but it's still promotion. So, gotta play. I can't play favorites. Got to be fair to everybody. I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I say, he's like, it didn't have anything to do with Denon. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll say, want to test your Denon AVR's Atmos? Check out my new mix. I don't know. Another thing I noticed was that there's a lot of people that just don't know how to play these files, and we can get into Blockbuster or Best Buy. It's a nice little segue. A lot of people with these Blu-ray players, even with some of them, the X700, the Sony, which I have underneath the little lightning bolt here, so I got to try it on there. It's only coming in 5.1, and then some people are just trying to use their Mac computer to do it. Their Mackle. It was Apple and Mac at the same time. And they can't get it going either. They're doing information. This file is only 5.1. I'm like, just play it in a Blu-ray player, man. And it's all good. It's all good. It's funny how there's so many people that claim to know so much about this in the Facebook groups and they can't just get the stupid file to play.
Real quick, people are asking about the RSL 10S MK2 here in the chat.
And Aaron.
Larry's saying, can I send the one that I have to Aaron? And I said no, because I'm lazy and I'm too cheap to do that because it costs money. I got to spend my money for what it starts getting weird. Like I'm spending my money to like promote now, like because that's what it is.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even think about that. I just know that I didn't know if it was yours, but I know that some manufacturers have just like I've said, can I send this to so and so, and they'll be like, no. And the reason I've gotten back from two of them was because they want to inspect them. Because I've actually had something come from, I won't say his name, but he's a very, very popular reviewer. And I had no problem with him. I'm not trying to say anything about him. But when it came from him to me, something likely had gotten damaged in shipping because when I fired him up, I was like, dude, y'all's tweeters our tweeter on this one speaker is jacked. And so I went ahead and measured it for him just to show him, and something was definitely wrong. So I sent it back. And that's why I think a lot of manufacturers probably are like, no, let us get it back so we can inspect it before we send something out to somebody else to review.
I got one. The THX subwoofer I got came from somebody else. We were just talking about him backstage.
Yeah.
Well, here I've measured that one.
Well, so is James Larson on Audioholic. So I was going to do it just so I would have something in my own personal database, because if I talk about something, I like to be able to have hands-on experience with it, and I know that's a popular one and people have asked, but I don't want to be like, well, so-and-so says it's good, and then where do I draw the line?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I have some basic measurements, Yeah. There's just the woofer. So I measure very close to the woofer, and then I measure the port, and then I try to get an idea of what it is when they integrate. That part is hard to do, because I don't do measurements outside, so it's hard to figure out how loud, how to integrate this properly.
Yeah.
So I sometimes just do like equal distance between the port and the woofer to kind of get an idea.
Yeah.
Like about how much each one is contributing. Mm-hmm. And what else? Near max, just to see how much it's changing in shape. Mm-hmm. And also I just try the different modes. Music. Where's the other one? I think I only have music. Where's the rest? I don't know. But anyway, I think the point just being that it does what it's supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
It's not super loud and doesn't play as low as a 12S, but for an inexpensive subwoofer, 10-inch, and it's relatively small, dude. It's hard to find something that it's gonna be much better. Yeah, I don't know what you can tell from that, but I just I measure them just to see if it's getting anywhere close to what they say. So I look at the spec on their website, and if it's way off, then I got to say something. But for the most part, if you get like a company like RSL, good with their measurements. Monolith, the stuff usually aligns pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have other companies that are not so good, like you just have to be careful. You have to be careful. Like Klipsch is, they've been getting better about their sensitivity. They've been saying it there.
Damn time.
They're saying it like, hey, this is measured this way. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
I recently measured a rail, like itty bitty. Well, I'm not going to get it. It's an itty bitty little rail subwoofer, and their F6 that they post on their site, it lines up almost exactly where mine does. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and I think it does exactly what we thought it would do, which is doesn't go very deep because there's no DSP. So it's just naturally what if you put a driver into a small box, what's it gonna do?
I actually like that though.
You do.
I don't know if you saw my video, but I was kind of talking about my concerns when you have DSP to boost the low end at low volumes and then basically cut the low end at higher volumes. Like I think that can, I mean, it's not like it's just anecdotal. I think that can compromise the dynamic range of the subwoofer. Well, for me, it's more, and I didn't even notice, or I didn't measure this stuff until I'd already listened to it. But I think it was the KEF or the SBS when I was listening to it at lower volume. I was like, dang, this thing has like solid 30 hertz. And then as I turned it up, I was like, all right, it's got solid 60, but where's 30? And then I measured it and I saw, as you turn the volume up, that low end is just taking a dive. And it's for a reason. And they're trying to protect the subwoofers because the last thing they want, I'm assuming, is a warranty issue where somebody just turns it up and blows a subwoofer and now they got a problem.
So that's interesting though, because it sounds to me like you're saying, okay, if it has this bass to begin with, and then as you turn it up, the bass is not there, then you're like, you understand what you lost.
Yeah.
But if it was never there and you never heard it, right? Like it was very low in volume to begin with, and you turn it up and it's still the same volume relative to the rest of it, you're like, okay, well, I got it. It seems like, so let's just say this, at the max volumes, it looked like the rel was still lower than the SVS even after it
for sure.
tapering off. So
for sure.
It still has more, it's just more noticeable. I'm trying to figure out what the what's causing it. Is it a psychoacoustic thing that you realize the difference? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a trade-off of that design. And I think if I were to just try to boil it down, which I normally don't like doing, but if I were to try to boil it down, I would say, you're with the other subwoofers, you're potentially trading off dynamic range, right? As opposed to this rail where there's no DSP to change it. So you don't have low bass no matter the volume, but it's consistently not low bass. And that upper bass is consistently the same in level compared to the lower bass, right? As opposed to some of the other subwoofers that are using a lot of DSP, that relative level changes as you increase the volume. So, you've got more low bass output. So maybe it's even, maybe 30 hertz is even with 60 or 80 hertz. And then you crank it up, 10 decibels, and now 30 hertz is 5 dB lower than 60 or 80. So there's that discrepancy. And I noticed it because I was specifically listening to a track that has 30 hertz, like a 32 hertz bass tone in it. And I was like, dang, that's surprising. Like it's actually pumping out. It was put on by Young Jeezy. I was like, it's actually putting out that bass tone at this lower volume. But then as I turn it up, I was like, all right, well, it's not there anymore. But the other tones, because there's 3 tones that it plays, the other tones were there, but that lower tone wasn't there anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, they're obviously using some kind of limiter built into it. And then when I measured it at the different volume steps, it just backed up what I already knew. And to me, that's a trade-off, right? Like some people may not care. And I think that really matters if you're listening to it at lower volume almost all the time, then heck yeah, dude, take that extra output on the low end and don't worry about what happens as you turn it up. But if you want consistent frequency response as you increase the volume, then that could be a problem. I mean,
is that considered dynamic range though? Because tell me if I'm not understanding exactly like you're describing, but let's just say let's say your main speakers are crossed over to the sub 80 hertz, just for simplicity. And so you level match them at 80.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you turn it up, let's say you get to 100 dB, and prior the SVS had, when it's low, let's say at 80, okay, it still has some deep bass extension, and you turn it all the way up, and now that bass extension has dropped off, but 80 is still matched to the main speakers.
80 is, yeah,
right. 80 is. Let's say the rail
30 aren't.
Yeah, those are no longer as high in volume.
Right.
Now, if you take the rel and it's tied to the main speaker at 80, as you turn it up, so it doesn't have any 20 to begin with, let's just say. Very little. So as you turn it up, that all goes up at the same, it should be this one. Yeah, should all go up at the same time, right? But it still has less 30 hertz than the other one.
Yeah.
At louder volume. So it's almost like, to me, it's saying you can't get mad about sound that wasn't there to begin with, right? There's nothing to miss when you didn't hear it in the first place. It's kind of what it seems like to me, right? Is that not it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, so I'm gonna back up and say that when I'm talking about this, I'm not just talking about this rail. I'm talking about the way it behaves, and posing the question to myself, would I prefer, let's say I'm buying a 15-inch sub, would I prefer to have a subwoofer that uses DSP to boost the bass at low volume, but then potentially cut it at higher volume? Or would I prefer to have a subwoofer that's doing the same thing in terms of frequency response as I increase the volume or lower the volume? And that's the question that I'm posing, like I said, to myself, but anybody else who's considering subwoofers.
So I've reviewed a good amount of subs, and I'll just kind of flip that and saying that let's say above 60 hertz, they're going to be equal. One with DSP and one without are going to be equal above 60 hertz. Okay. It's below 60 hertz at loud volume where the one with DSP can say, you know what, I can bump that up a little bit more. Yeah. Whereas the one without it is just going to say, well, no, it's not there.
It's not doing it anyway. Right.
So
it's the question of do you want it or not.
Is doing something. I just don't understand how the one that does do something is less dynamics. And
well, I mean, if you're saying that at 80 decibels at 30 hertz relative to 80 hertz, it's the same. And then at 100 decibels at 30 hertz compared to 80 hertz, it's 10 decibels down now. That's your dynamic range. That's 10 decibel loss at 30 hertz in dynamic range. Does that make sense?
Not quite. Yeah, it's I don't know. To me, it just seems like, well, there's less. DSP allowed the other one to give you more sound. Right?
Yeah, well, dynamic range is a measure of how constant is that tone at varying volume. And if it doesn't scale like the other frequencies do, then that's a loss in dynamic range. So if I turn the volume up if I turn the volume up 10 decibels, I expect the volume to raise 10 decibels. No matter what it was already doing, I expect that 10 decibels to remain constant. And if it only raises 3 decibels, then that's a loss of 7 decibels in range, basically. And I figured that also into music that is dynamic. So if you're listening to music that has a dynamic range of 15 decibels, and then all of a sudden, you've got a hard thumb track drum whack that comes in at like, I don't know, 30 hertz or 40 hertz, something like that, some kind of synth sound maybe. Is that going to be relayed in your playback system? Or is it going to say, all right, well, I can only increase by 3 decibels, but this specific dynamic peak is 15 decibels, right? So you're not getting that full extent of that dynamic range because it's purposely limiting it. But that's why I go back to say, like, there's multiple things that we're talking about here. And anybody who's watching this, I don't want them to get tripped up on just the number, because application matters too. So if you're listening in a smaller apartment and you don't really need the loud aspect, then something that uses DSP to boost the low end at lower volume and medium volume as well, but doesn't at higher volume and actually cuts it at higher volume, that may not be an issue for them. So it is user dependent. I think, if I'm going to run 15-inch subwoofers or 18-inch subwoofers, I probably don't want a limiter on them. I probably just want those suckers to be running as much as they can, 10 hertz all the way up. and I'm going to have enough of them to not have to worry about going into over excursion of the woofer and creating mechanical noise, as opposed to I've got maybe 1 10-inch subwoofer and I try to crank it up, I might start plopping this thing around at the tuning port or the tuning frequency.
What's interesting to me though, when you did the comparison between the REL and the SVS and the KEF one, it's not like the one with the REL with no DSP had more SPL, because that's
it does not.
The trade-off. The trade-off is usually, okay, this is allowed to play louder and they're not going to give you deep bass extension, right? They're just going to allow it to play louder, right? Versus typically a DSP one says, okay, I'll give you more bass extension at low volume. As you turn it up, I'm going to have to take that away, and I'm just going to give you the natural response to this thing, and that's it. So
I've never personally run DSP on my home theater system when I was running 218s. I didn't run DSP on them other than just for EQ and things like that. But I didn't run a limiter on them. It was basically a passive subwoofer with a rack drive amplifier to it, like a Crown XLS 1502, I think, or 2502, something like that. And I was just letting it run, man, because I didn't want it to alter the frequency or the tone level as I changed the volume. I wanted that to go with, because I was running high sensitivity speakers too.
Yeah.
I wanted all that to remain constant. That's where I have an issue with, like, well, what makes more sense? And it is an individual preference, need, those kind of aspects run into it.
Well, so just to be very clear, I'm not a huge fan of dynamic frequency response changes. It makes it very difficult to tune your system, because what are you going to tune to? You have to tune to probably the level that you normally listen to. I don't like the dynamic changing of stuff.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like dynamic,
this is the frequency curve right here.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, now it's like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to change. Right? So dynamic EQ on Denon and Marantz, right? Odyssey dynamic EQ. I tell people turn it off. So when it comes to subs, it's not my favorite thing for it to change dynamically, just from an EQ standpoint. But I am a fan of using DSP to extend the bass out further.
Yeah, I agree.
And to me, it makes more sense. Hey, if you can't play this thing loud enough, get another one. That's
right.
To me, that makes the most sense. Like, because is there a way to turn it off on the KEF or the SVS? There's no option to turn it off. No, I had 20 of them in the room. I don't need that feature anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think so. And I think you and I actually agree. It's just, it comes down to what the user is going to need.
Yeah, I like that it can do it. I think it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to listen at low volume, give me the deep bass extension.
Yeah.
It's kind of, to me, it's Hoffman's iron law, where the small size and loud volume and deep bass extension is constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
It's dynamically changing. But anyway, I don't want to get into that too much, but you guys get the idea. I think you get the idea. If Tim, if you cut this up, comment below and let us know what you think of the dynamic EQ in subwoofers, and also what do you think of DSP just in general for subwoofers? I like it.
I think it's an absolute must, man. These
DSP.
days.
Does that sound for Daily Sound Party?
Daily sound. No, it's not daily. It's weekly.
Hey, real quick, back to the car audio stuff. Real quick. Has anybody tried to do a binaural setup? Would that work in a car? Try to do crosstalk cancellation and make it binaural?
Oh, you mean like the Legend 800?
Yeah, something kind of like that, but electronically.
I think there are. Well, like, I've tried it, and I was inspired by Bose, of all people, because one of their Cadillacs that came out maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, I'm just ballparking, had little headrest speakers. And I thought, now I could take that, and I could take this left speaker. I could figure out, the measure binaurally with binaural mics, figure out the response just from the left speaker to the right ear, cancel that out, and then do the same thing for the opposite speaker. And when I did that, it was pretty interesting. Is it actually increased the soundstage width on the right side, but not the left side. And I know why. It's because in a car on the driver's side, you're about, let's say, like 10 to 15 degrees off axis. So there's not as much head shadowing on the left side or the driver's side as there is from the right side when it's like 40 to 60 degrees off axis. That right side coming at you, there's a whole lot of blockage to your left ear by this side of your head. And there's hardly any blockage from this other speaker that's coming at you because it's almost like pointed right at you. So the left and right ears are getting a much more similar response from the left speaker than they are from the right speaker. The right speaker is vastly different from left to right ear or left to right ear. So I played around with that some. And I'm sure plenty of other people have messed around with stuff like that, manufacturers especially.
That makes sense. Basically, you cannot do binaural when you're not
binaural, right?
Or you're not in the center, and it's going to be now you have to deal with, not being in the center of the speakers, and trying to make binaural come in through speakers is already a tough thing to do.
You need Aaron's friends.
Yeah, if you can move to the center, I think maybe you can do it.
That's what you do.
That's what I'm saying. If you can move the seat to the center, now you have a better shot of making binaural work.
Or you just buy a car like that McLaren F1, where it's just only a single seat in the middle.
Dude, one of these days I need to show you guys some photos of some of the wild car audio stuff, because I've got another friend, Chris Pate, owns MTI Acoustics. It's like it's a personalized car audio place in Texas, and man, he's got a center seat Civic that's ridiculous, and it's like a '94 Civic, I guess. I'm ballparking. I mean, it seems like it's the early '90s. It's a hatchback, and he made it a center drive. So you actually drive it from the center.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I mean, that's like next level stuff, and that car's been around. I mean, Billy, I think he might be in the chat. If I had to guess, 15 to 20 years. It's been around for a while. There's another guy who literally went out and bought a NASCAR. His name is Mark Eldridge. He bought a NASCAR, like a real NASCAR car, and then repurposed it from the ground up for car audio. And he's doing some crazy stuff. And he just sold it to another one of my friends, Tony Guttermuth. So it's wild, dude. I mean, I need to start trying to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like cover these events. And I wanted to at finals, but honestly, man, I was just so psyched to see the dudes I haven't seen in 4 years. Like dudes, like I couldn't even recognize them. Literally, one of my friends, Bill, I saw him from like a bit away, and I saw his FJ Cruiser, and I thought, is that Bill? But this dude like has lost like a lot of weight. And I walk up to him, and I was like looking, I was like, Bill? He's like, man, yeah, he's lost like 80 pounds, but he's doing it for a good reason. Like it came healthily. He didn't have like a health scare or anything. So I don't know, man. That's what I love about doing this stuff, is just meeting friends and hanging out.
Yeah, I hear you, man. What else? What else were you? So, Chan, are you on a call?
It was my buddy. I was just like, I think he actually needs something. So
okay.
Did. And then he's like, wait, what live stream are you on? Send me the link.
My buddy, I was just like, what you call it?
So what? Yeah, what are we doing? What's happening?
Paul's saying I have $10 internet. Is my video quality real bad right now?
Yeah, you're a little Chop City.
Yeah, Chop Suey.
Chop Suey.
Chop Suey. Wake up! I told you I met him, right? Serge Tankian in Malibu at the house.
I think you did.
Yeah. And Sasha's like, no, that's not him. I'm like, no, that's totally Serge. Yeah, like, I know that guy. I don't know him. Sergey, is that?
Sergey, not Sergey. Sergey. Yeah, Sergey? I said it wrong the first time. It's because I'm from Alabama.
I thought it was Serge. Anyway,
I don't know. No, I think you're right. I mean, you're probably right. I'm just trying to make it French.
Oh, you're being silly.
I'm trying to Joe Dirt it up, church it up, Joe Dirt style.
How do I share this stupid stream from my phone? Come on. Oh, like that? Oh, jeez.
PSA Power Sound Audio MT110. Somebody asked, so that's what that is.
Where is this?
Somebody mentioned in our group chat yesterday about I guess somebody else made a video about hating on expensive stuff. Do you hate on expensive stuff? I don't hate on expensive stuff.
Me?
I love expensive shit. Come on, what's going on?
Yeah, to me. Yeah, I guess I didn't watch any.
Is this about the? Let's not say the equipment that shall not be named.
Let me just say it like this, okay? I just want to make it very clear. I don't hate on expensive stuff. Here's the thing about expensive stuff, right? When something is expensive, that means it takes more of your resources. Yes. Right? Money is a resource, and the more that a product takes of your resource, the less you have to spend on other things. So the more expensive something is, the more critical I'm going to be as to whether it does exactly what it's supposed to do. Does it live up to these expectations? Because
I think that's fair.
Of course, that's fair, right? The more expensive something is, the more I expect from it.
But at the same time, you get you're driving your Ferrari down the road, it can easily get a nail in the tire that your 87 Honda Accord will do.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
which one's easier to fix and cheaper to fix? The Honda. But hey, for those that want to roll, I know Joe's saying it like, look, if you have to do payment plans for an $8,000 media player, maybe you should go with the $200 media player.
But that's not the media player's fault. That's the buyer's fault, right?
There's yes. There's a whole.
But then I guess there's the aspect of feeling like you're missing out. We got FOMO in here somewhere, so he would know what that's like. But,
my point just being, the more expensive something is, the more questions I'm going to ask. Asking questions is not hating, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with you guys out there who think that asking questions is like, ooh, that's hating.
You know what I think it is? You know why I think it is? They didn't ask the questions, and now they're like, oh well, shit. Maybe I should have asked that question. Did I really waste like X thousands of dollars on something? Because like I said, if I download an MP3 at 192 or 320, that's the bit rate, right? And then burn it onto a Blu-ray or a CD, and then put the CD back into my computer and rip it as an AIFF or WAV file, yeah, it'll have a larger, it'll take up more space, but it's not going to be better quality. So, yes, there it is.
I'm all for expensive stuff.
And me doing that would be a proprietary method, right? That's my proprietary method.
Stuff just because, look, I like rich people. I would like to be a rich person. What are you guys talking about? So why would I hate on having money? Having money is a great thing. Being able to afford expensive stuff is a great thing. It's just that not everything that's expensive is actually good. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's good. Just because
sometimes there
doesn't mean it's crap.
Yeah,
it actually is the opposite. The more expensive something is, the more likely it's going to be good. More likely.
Right.
But my expectations are also higher. So that's it. I don't get that's what's hating. Hating is saying, I don't like this thing because it's expensive. I have lots of expensive stuff.
Clip that, Tim.
Why? Do you think I do? You like to buy expensive. Do I hate on stuff just because it's expensive, or because
Joe's actually talking me down off the ledge on this computer purchase? I'm thinking to go 8 terabyte internal SSD. Joe's like, no, dude, you're only going to need 4. You don't need that. And to do the upgrade from 4 terabyte to 8 terabyte is $1,200. I could buy another computer for that. I could buy a computer for the kid or for the wife, or a couple of Zidus and a Dune or whatever, right? Yeah. It's a lot of money. And if
it's a value thing, right? It's a value. How much value do you get the more you go up? Now, it's not my place to tell people what is right for them. That's not my place. My place is to say, ask the questions. So from 4 terabyte to 8 terabyte, it's this much more. Is it worth it? For you, I don't know. I know you well enough to know what you do. Yeah. I asked you questions, right?
Yes.
So it's not that
it's
absolutely ridiculous. It's asking questions. The best salespeople ask questions, right? They ask, hey, so what are you going to use this for? Do you have to, you can't pay for your kids' college because you want to buy this thing? I don't know that that's a great idea. Do you think it's a great idea? No, maybe not. Okay. Oh, is this thing that's $30,000 nothing to you? Okay, well, that's a different story.
I'll see. Sunny Sky says, I wasn't too impressed going to the Amp 10 from my Tone Winner 7300. Do you see that, Fred? Do you see that?
I don't know. What's you guys' stance on expensive stuff? To me, the price is just, I just expect more from it, right? I'm more critical of the thing because of the price, because it's more expensive. I'm more critical of it than something that's less expensive.
Perfect example. I want the Focals studio monitors that I've wanted for ages finally going on sale because they're introducing a new line. So they're like $1,000 off each. They're still $4,000 a piece. I was like, yo, Joe, man, I want to get these Focals. And he's, which model number? And he comes back with the measurement. He's like, these measure like garbage, dude. Don't buy those things. Don't waste your money on that. And there it is. There it is. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
I don't know. I think it's all relative. So it's just a matter of
for sure
how much value, what's the value that you're getting from, what's your return on your investment, right?
Right.
Again, it's not my place to judge whether that return on investment is worth it to you. A small change in return could be worth it to somebody who has unlimited money, right? Just a small difference. It could be the difference of, you know what, I like it because nobody else can get it.
There's that. Yeah.
There's pride of ownership too, man. And there's market.
You love them blue lights, don't you, Aaron?
Dude, I love I love the blue lights. I do. And if I can afford it and it doesn't measure or sound any better than something half its cost, I'd still probably going to get the blue lights. I mean, it is what it is, man. So now I might judge somebody else for doing the same thing I would, which makes me a hypocrite. I might be like, they're an idiot. That is the stupidest thing. But then I'd be like, I'd probably do it too. So.
Is this a smart purchase?
Is
this worth?
Is that analog?
No. This Leica M is not worth it from a straight like camera perspective. Do I still have it? Because yeah. Why?
Cool.
Because I've always wanted one.
It's like a retro
value proposition. Bad, right? Do I still own one? Yeah, because I've wanted one. You got to just be honest, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You got to be honest what it is and what it isn't.
There ain't nothing wrong.
I have no problem with expensive stuff. Get out of here with that. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm coming through. Well, let's do this and then go over to Best Buy. I think the back and forth surrounding the Kaleidoscape is with some of the people who have become spokespersons for the device. They are taking a niche product and trying to make it an everyday product. I
don't say anything about that particular product, did I? Did I say that particular product?
No. If I don't know an hour ago.
That not.
I hear one more thing about Kaleidoscape from anybody, including my two friends above me. I'm gonna lose my mind.
No.
Anyway,
speaking of Ferraris,
my heart wants a Ferrari, but my bank account says to buy a Ford Pinto.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate.
So here's the thing: what is your guys' take on value when it comes to price? Because I think that's important to know about a reviewer, right? What is their stance when it comes to how do you look at price and how does that factor into your review process?
I think that some things you can't put a price on too. Like I said, like pride of ownership. You know, some people grow up wanting X brand and maybe it's not as good as it used to be.
It's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, dude.
Like, some people are always some people are like, I saw some people in a Facebook group hating on Bang & Olufsen. They're like, oh, these things are garbage, blah, blah, blah. And me back in the day, the only my dad was a audiophile, right? So I'm accidental audiophile over here. Growing up, listening to all this equipment, I knew what Macintosh is. Apple Macintosh didn't exist back then.
Yeah,
my parents split up when I was 6, so every weekend, my dad would take me to these speaker stores, and we would sit there. The 3 brands were Nakamichi, Bang & Olufsen, and Macintosh, and those are the brands I knew.
Yeah,
and I would sit there and listen to music with him, and then I'd see the salesperson and some person that couldn't really hear well, and the salesperson just like trying to sell him on the shit, and I'm like, man, this is rough, dude. That dude can't hear any. Like I heard the customer is trying to explain what he's hearing. I'm like, no, dude. I'm in my head. I'm like, no, I didn't hear that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
they're all.
How do you look at price? So going back to the specific question, how do you factor in price when it comes to your review process? When it comes to
my review process,
I
told what's his name, Chris Walker from ELAC wants to send me a pair of $15,000 speakers. I told him, well, if they sound like shit, I'm going to say so. And
are you going to be harder on those though than a speaker that's equal in sound but cost $1,500?
Dude, that was the theme for me of Audio Advice Live. They got those new hyphen speakers from Monitor Audio that were like $100,000. You have these Stradivari from Sonus Faber that were $50,000, and you had these ELACs that were like $4,000 a pair. And I like the ELACs better than both of the other ones. But if I had to choose between a $50,000 pair or a $100,000 pair, the Stradivari from Sonus Faber sounded way better than sounded way better than the hyphens at double the price. So when it comes to reviewing stuff, like I'm just going to say what I like and what I don't like. And if something is super expensive and there's a lot of options below that price point, half or a fraction of the price point, I'm going to say that. I'm like, just like I did. Like I like those $4,000 pair of ELACs better than the other two.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about you, Aaron? How do you factor in price when it comes to your review process?
I don't know. It's tough because like sometimes I purposely do, and then other times I just don't think about it. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but like I know as a reviewer, that's one area that I could do better in is making comparisons, saying, oh, well, this thing costs X amount. Let's see what you can get for this amount. Or if you pay more, what do you get? Um, I think for me, it depends on what I've seen others say about it or what manufacturers say about it that I pay more attention to than the price. And like, for example, that FIO SP3, like the manufacturers saying stuff. And I was like, that's not even logical. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
So
and there are other times where
you're comparing it to the manufacturer's claims.
Sometimes I compare it to what I'll listen, I'll take notes, I'll do the measurements. Then I might go back and watch a review from somebody else or read a review from somebody else. And maybe I'll put some weight of that into my own review, especially if it's something that's really hyped up that I feel like it's just been blown way out of proportion as being really good. And it's just not. And I feel like people are getting serious kickbacks from it. Even if I can't prove it, then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to wreck this thing then. So I may be a little bit harder. And it's not my fault. It's the manufacturer's fault.
For making a crap product, right?
For making a crap product and then for overselling it and paying people to overhype it. And that's when I'm like, all right, I'm going full bore here.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So I don't know.
Here's Croissant said it good here. But you don't tell people they can't take pictures without the Leica. That's the difference I see in home theater. People say you have to spend big money or you're missing out or you don't know good home theater.
So I don't know how much this was, probably like 5 G's just for the body, right? Okay, expensive, right? It doesn't even have like autofocus. I gotta manually focus this thing. I gotta look through this thing and I gotta line up 2 little dots.
$5,000, no autofocus. Come on,
yeah,
Joe.
That's no lens, right?
Not run that past your friends. I can tell you that right now.
Is this much more advanced? The Sony A7S III, yeah, and for taking photos, yeah, probably much better. And this one doesn't even do video. This one can't even do video.
It doesn't do video.
Feature wise.
You could have got a kaleidoscope, bro. Come on.
The Sony will kill the Leica, right? But you know what? What's the best value? Probably this little Ricoh GR. This is a GR2 or something like that.
Look at this guy.
This is probably the best.
More cameras out of your ass, buddy.
Let's small.
Pull out some more cameras.
Right. It's small and then it takes awesome photos. So value-wise, this is the best, right? Value-wise. Yeah. Do I look at this and say, oh man, I can't believe I own that? No. I've been saving up for this thing I've wanted this for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm rich. It's because like I can look at this and say, yep, I got what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
I worked hard to get that and I can afford it. I should be proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. I look at this as my trophy, right?
Yep.
And then for work, I use this one because it does all the crazy stuff. So there's a place for all of it. But my job, I feel, as a reviewer, is just to let people know what's what.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the truth of what's what. This one's better at this. This one's not good. Ask questions.
Let them decide.
Then help people figure out what's good for them based on what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. That makes sense.
All right, let's get it. Let's
done. Let them decide. All right, I got to bail because I'm tired of sitting here.
Later, bro.
All right.
I'll catch y'all later. Good seeing y'all.
All right. See you later, Aaron.
Toodles.
All right, let's get into these star comments. I'm ready for Chana mic drop regarding the dropping of physical media by retailers. All right, here we go. Biggest thing in the news here. We've got Best Buy is axing physical media. Will no longer carry physical movies in 2024. And I'm no longer hold. This is an article from The Verge. Give them credit. So let's see. Best Buy stopped selling CDs in 2018. There's a random Best Buy employee. Fantastic. You think I wonder if he's like, I'm famous. 45. So looks like Walmart has 45% market share and is the largest retailer of physical media. So you could still go to Walmart and grab your steel books if you guys want, or you go to Amazon. I mean, it's just a sign of the times, what do you think, Joe?
I don't know. I don't really buy a lot of physical media, so it's not a thing for me.
I just got one in. Where did it go? I just
You
ripped
do.
it.
You
too.
guys do though. You guys love physical media.
This just came in. Transformers: The Rise of the Beast. I haven't even watched it. I don't even know if the movie's good or not. I just bought it. My dumbass, just to put it in my collection.
I did go to Best Buy though.
Oh yeah,
The other
when?
day to go pick up this phone. Just got this
Yeah.
new.
Oh, you got the new Pixel, huh?
8 Pro. Pixel 8 Pro. Very good phone. I like it. But you know, the process. So I went in the store just because I thought, like, yeah, it's, you know, I could have bought it online just as easily. Actually, looking back, it would have been easier for me to just buy it online. To have to wait there.
Yeah, look what Marv says. Who's buying Blu-rays? Yeah, who's buying Blu-rays at Best Buy these days? I'd buy them all on. Oh, I don't have a Best Buy near me, so CDs are still around. Billy P says. Mike says, I wonder if they're just doing that to drive the price back up on physical media, kind of like the TP shortage in COVID. What is this?
Yeah.
Why are you taking video of the Best Buy?
Oh, you know, because I was showing how it was oddly empty. It was weirdly empty. I was like, this looks like fries when they were about to go out. It was weird. But then I asked her, like, it's just not busy today. Normally there's a line. I'm like, okay.
I'm ready to start reducing. Steven says, I'm ready to start reducing my physical media purchases and do more streaming. Compression and all, but streaming is going to get better. Not Bravia Core. Needs to be more generic offering. Yeah, it needs, yes, 100%. Having the physical media as far as games, movie, and music is better quality than digital. I don't know. I don't know about the games part because, dude, I can, you know, I'm going to take my Xbox with me to work tonight. So I can have something on in the background while I'm editing and use my monitor. And then when I want to jump into a new Call of Duty game, it's already there. It's downloaded. It's downloaded into the thing. Like, I wouldn't want to have to carry the disc around with me. What am I, 15 again? like I'm 45. Still playing video games. Yes. But yeah, like I just got a 4 terabyte internal SSD for the PlayStation 5, so that because it comes with only like 600 700 gigabytes of usable disk space, so all the games can just be there. So as far as games, I don't know, I like the digital delivery. Yeah, it's going to be the same. And like, dude, these things are like 120 gigabytes now. Like, you can't even fit that onto a disc, you know. So there's also that, you know. So yeah, I mean, I like having the movies so I can rip them and then they're available in every room. And then when I buy them, I can also use the digital code to go to Vudu or Movies Anywhere or whatever, pop that in. So if I'm somewhere else and I don't have access to my hard drives here in the home network, I can just, like, I can go onto Vudu on my Xbox while I'm at work, put on any of the movies that I've purchased, right, through the physical media, because majority of them have that. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them have HD instead of 4K UHD. But, you know, if I'm away somewhere, I'm not it's got to have Atmos. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
You know, surprising is when they started doing like streaming of games.
Yes,
like
that's the new thing.
Be a server that's running it, and then you're streaming the gameplay. And like, to me, what's amazing is how, you know, they've minimized the latency, because you press a button, it's got to process, and then it's got to show you something. Like, that's amazing. And that's streaming a video game where you're controlling the thing. So to me, looking at that and then going backward and saying, you're telling me that it's going to be like, it's impossible to to stream a video where latency doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it,
dude. On that whole game streaming thing, that's how, like, I was looking at, you know, I have a video coming out. It's about Xbox accessories and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, why can't I use my, cause I didn't have a headset. I wanted to, like, you know, talk shit to these people in the game and all that stuff. But I had my AirPods Max, and I'm like, why can't I use my AirPods Max? Isn't there a microphone there? Isn't there this and there's that? So I found a couple of YouTube videos where you actually turn on the remote play, go onto your phone, and you log in to the Xbox, and you start playing the game you can start playing the game using the AirPods Max as your headset. But you're and you play the game physically on your controller and Xbox. But if you look at your phone, it's showing you running around playing the game. So you can play, like, the latency is not bad. It's not bad. I tried that out like a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh shit, I can actually use this. But it's a roundabout way of just to be able to use the AirPods Max. So you're,
Right.
that Bluetooth to your phone, but you're technically playing the game on your phone and on the Xbox at the same time. That's just kind of weird. But I was surprised that there isn't that much latency. There is a little bit, but
yeah, and it's not to say that a highly compressed video isn't noticeably worse, right? Highly compressed video using the old school codecs. So we got to make it clear. Highly compressed video using older codecs, you can tell a difference between one that has no compression or less compression. And a perfect example of that is, this is a cheap USB 3 video capture card, right? So I use this to go out from this camera, right? So I take the HDMI out from here, and this goes into a tablet. I can go into the tablet, a phone, anything like that. And this acts as a kind of like a UVC, a webcam driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's two options. There's YUV, which is a lossless, kind of direct signal.
Yep.
And there's one where it's called motion JPEG, right? Old school compression. And sometimes if you're using an older tablet, older phone, something like that, it has to use the M motion JPEG, and because it's using USB 2.0, there's not enough bandwidth. But if you use USB 3.0, you can do 1080p 60 frames per second, no problem, without it having to compress. And when you look at that screen, you can definitely tell a difference. I'm not even talking about streaming, over the internet. Right. I'm talking about streaming over this cable. Right? So yeah, definitely I understand that difference, but the bandwidth just keeps increasing. Yeah. As technology gets better, bandwidth, wireless, it's not an issue to stream, especially because of higher quality codecs. So if this used, the codecs we've talked about before, AV1 or, some of these high, they're processor intensive. So this thing doesn't have,
the capabilities.
The tablet doesn't have the power to do it with zero latency. But if it could, then the quality would be probably indistinguishable. So
yeah. I mean, but here's Billy brings up the point that is the real problem is streaming is availability. Shows, movies disappear. Some media change. My CD versions of Lord of the Rings soundtrack isn't available on streaming. So yes, there are those things. We were trying to watch some movie, or we're trying to catch up on some movie, right? What was it? Jack Reacher, right? The Tom Cruise movie. And so we had to figure out where it's playing. So we had to Google, which streaming service is playing on, and so you have to find those things. And then another thing with streaming services, we just experienced it again today. We're watching the Challenge USA on the Paramount Plus app on the Roku. The Roku in the bedroom, that show has ads. The Roku in the living room, that show does not have ads. What gives? Why is it's the same platform? It's the same app. So then there's also these kinds of things. So yeah,
I get it. And some people are saying that stuff disappears.
Yeah,
and that's true. You know, there's some old school music that I knew was on a CD, but then I go to look for it somewhere, and I'm like, oh, they don't have a Snoop CD on there because they don't have a licensing deal with them. Like, I can't listen to that. But if I had the CD, of course, I could listen to it whenever I wanted to. Every single song. You know what I mean? Yeah. I get it. And I think availability will get better as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I understand both sides, Owning something is it's a good thing to own it.
Yeah.
I think nowadays we're getting more and more used to, or they want us to get more and more used to
everything.
You don't own anything.
Yeah, exactly. From houses to everything, dude.
Houses, you want Adobe Photoshop? Oh well, that's a subscription.
$20 a month.
That's a subscription.
Hey, Joe, the Daily HiFi show is a subscription.
Subscription.
Right? We got you fuckers too.
Well, when I was doing Magic Beans, I'm like, should it be a one-time payment or should it be subscription? I'm like, I hate subscriptions. I'd rather it be a one-time payment, but I don't know.
Yeah. We'll are you doing a review of the Per Listen sub? Yes. I am still working on my test track. I've been having to consult the this guy over here, my guy over here.
Yeah.
About and I did come to the conclusion that it's going to be pretty good. The track, the Pro Listen stuff, probably going to be pretty good. It's very expensive. But that review is going to go on Dream Media's YouTube channel, not mine.
Don't you hate expensive stuff though, supposedly?
I hate it. I hate that I had to buy a little bit of it. This is more about the subwoofer, the S. Oh, Derek won an AVR. How did you win this AVR? That's cool.
Whoa.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
You play Oro 3D.
That's awesome. It's awesome. You get to try out some new things with the 3800X, X3800H. I have one upstairs in the living room. It's a great performer. If you only have 5 ear level speakers, you can run 6 high channels with that bad boy. I don't know why you would want to, but hey, you can.
Did we already talk about the Dune stuff? Because did we talk about that last time?
I don't think so.
Okay, so
I don't remember.
Shauna had the 4K Dune HD Homatics. What is it called? Dune HD Homatics 4K.
The Homatics
Box R, something like that. Anyway, it's $150. It does a lot of things. What else? True HD pass through, but no DTS X and DTS Master Audio HD, whatever that's called. They can't do that one. But I thought it was going to be like an inexpensive replacement for, let's say, something like Zapiti, right? Just to be able to play the files that you have, to be able to, like,
over network and all that kind of
stuff. Yeah, over the network. But what I found out is that particular device cannot play ISO, the full menus. It can't play it over the network. Only the ones that you got with that Realtek, whatever that chip is. Only that one can do it. So that Realtek chip is what you want if you want to be able to play full Blu-ray menus and True HD and DTS Master Audio pass through.
Yeah, that
one does everything.
Yep. And I actually ordered another one.
How are those working? The ones that you have currently?
Shit's hit and miss, dude.
Really?
It's hit and miss. Yeah. Like sometimes I feel like I just want to throw it out and get a new one and start over.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I ordered this one. So this is the closest one to the price of. So this is $299. $249 is the price of the Zidu X9 Pro. So this is like the main competitor, right? Doesn't have a hard drive. So I still haven't opened it, but I did open this. He's got this guy here, and I actually like this a little bit better than the Zidu. Yes. It's a little bit antiquated, the menu structure, but it works. It works.
Okay.
And like, I've been going back and forth with Paul Croson and I think Richard in the chat. Their ISOs play fine, but here's the thing: some ISOs on the Zidu will not play. Some will, others will, some won't. But the Dune will play all of them that I've tried. Now I have a whole lot, so there could just be like I don't know, it just doesn't like a couple of the demo discs. However, the Dune was actually indexing the demo discs, which the Zapiti never did and the Zidu never did, because those aren't like movies technically.
Was it doing it correctly? Because I found that I tried to scrub my my movies that I had on a hard drive that are like old movies. And dude, it was coming up with all kinds of weird, like that's not even close to that movie.
The Dune had a couple that were the demo discs. Out of the 11 that I have, it was able to pick out 6 and correctly. Okay. So I was actually surprised about that. There are some
Indian movies.
So some of them are just come up as question marks as the thing. So
this is the chip, by the way.
Yes, the Realtek
RTD 1619 DR.
So if you're looking for any kind of media player and you wanted to do all the audio codecs and then ISO BDMV folders, that's the chip you want to.
That's the one.
Which they put right here on the very top of this box.
Let me see
for the Dune. Boom. RTD 1619 DR. So this
does everything.
That's what
you're
gonna want. Yeah. And then you could always ask us here on the show and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I am going through and putting the same library, loading up the same library on a hard drive, internally and externally on the Zidu, on the Dune, and having the Zidu read it and having the other Dune read it, and just kind of saying which one is going to be better. Again, ripping movies. It's like that line in what is it? Anchorman. 60% of the time it works all the time. Like it's not like a perfect thing. So you're gonna get things like, I was actually surprised that the new Transformers movie ripped without any issues, because usually new movies I'll be like, it's got an error, blah blah blah.
He's like, that's what happens when ISO comes from a bootleg disc. Actually, you tell me what it looks for or what it comes up with when you put the spatial audio toolkit. So we have the rights to use that. That's our disc. Yeah. When it tries to look for that, tell me what.
The metadata. I actually don't have an ISO of our disc on that. I need to go load it. I could it's just an easy copy paste. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like my Zidu Z10 Pro that I used in the bedroom worked great for like a year and a half. And now I can't even take a movie that's like 10 gigabytes, stick it into the thumb on a thumb drive or hard drive, and just plug it into the USB outlet or input on there, and it won't play it. Everything just skips, and it's just going to a TV, so it's not going to a sound system, and it just skips. Everything skips. I even tried over the network, and since it's not plugged in directly, with the Ethernet, forget about it. Yes, Sunny Skies, 100%. Yes, I hear the Zidu UI loads the cover art. They're all like that. Even the Dune. If it's pulling it off of a network, it's a little bit slower than if a drive is connected. But if you want to run a NAS, like I have like 80 terabytes over here, or 78, or some usable. It's one of those things. It just happens, So it's either that you got to deal with that, or shell out the 10K for the Kaleidoscape. And still continue to buy movies. Larry says y'all see OSD subs are still 45 to 50% off on Amazon. So if you guys want to pack your room in with like 20 subwoofers, hey, you can. 6J Salva asks, when is Magic Beans available?
Oh man.
Hey, I'm still waiting for my advanced copy. I got some shit to do. You just stand in line, J6.
I could probably make it available this week. It's possible that I could make it available this week, but I don't know. I'm being a little more strategic. You
gotta hype it up though.
There's business stuff that surrounds it, right? And you'll understand once I announce, because it's Angela saying, "Come on, it's not just an app." That's what I'm trying to say. I'm building this is a business, you know what I mean? An app is just an app. Here's an app.
Joe's over there recreating the Apple ecosystem. It's not an app, it's an ecosystem.
It's a business, man. You guys don't understand. I'm not a
businessman. I'm a business man.
Exactly.
Shots fired.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So that requires marketing, that requires a whole infrastructure, really. The app is just one part of this thing. And so, and just to give you a quick, insider info about that, the problem I've noticed with people and calibration is it's either it's too complicated and they don't understand how to do it. Yep. And so they end up not doing it, or it's almost like it's too simplified to the point where you're like, I ran the auto thing, but I don't know if it did it correctly. I don't know if those boxes that I checked, I was supposed to check them. I don't know. Right. So that's the issue. You spend all this money to get your system sounding as good as possible. Did you make it better? Did you make it worse?
Yeah.
So of course the app, you want the app to make you feel confident. So that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do is I want people to be very confident that what they're doing is correct, that they have improved their system. They can hear it. They can look at the measurements and see it. They can, talk to.
I like the room curve comparison. There's
they can do a post measurement to say, did it do what I expected it to do? Oh, I didn't do a measurement. Oh shoot, it did do exactly what's supposed to do. And so I want people to be very confident in their calibration, and that also involves maybe providing support, like what we do with the spatial toolkit. We're in Discord supporting a lot of this stuff post sale, right? We've already gotten your money. Yeah. We don't have to do anything in addition, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how we roll. We're like, let's continue helping these people. Right?
Yeah.
Let's try to improve your system more. So that's the support aspect. Right?
Yeah. Along with just the customer service emails. This is on top of all of that. Like
customer service is a
different thing. That's like, I didn't get my order. What's going on with shipping? Blah, 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 blah.
No.
That kind of stuff. But the Discord is like in-depth questions. We got Jeremy in there.
We got Sunny Skies is in there. He can tell you. What do we talk about in there?
He just told Derek to make sure to get in there because where is it?
Yeah, it's not just that. So that's basically what I would like to build out is an entire thing. That's better than what we currently have. That's it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, Kevin asks, Sean and Joe, I may be given a broken older 6-channel amp soon. If I'm not able to fix it, will the 80 watts per channel be enough for surrounds and Atmos channels? Thanks. I mean, I think 80 watts is pretty good. Depends on the speaker. If it's is this an 80 watt at 8 ohm? Is it 80 watts at 4 ohm? And then what speakers you have, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could work. If 6 channels work, 6 channels work.
So here's like real world testing, right? Paul and I did the real world testing of subwoofers to see how much we're actually drawing. Now there's the RMS value, which is generally how much power you're drawing. Right? That's like you see wattage in RMS, right? And then you see peak, which is like for an instant, how much wattages are you drawing from it? So those are two different things. RMS matters like the most, but the other thing to consider is, are you really running full range content to
like high channels?
No. Surround and Atmos channels? No, you're probably crossing it over at 80 watts. 80 hertz. So is 80 watts enough? Probably. Yeah. If you cut off 80 hertz from any speaker and turn that thing up, you would be amazed how loud you can play that thing without distortion and to the point of discomfort.
Yes. Your ears are going to start hurting before you hurt the speaker.
Yeah. Right. You're like, oh, that's too loud. So, I mean, in a typical room, now you take that and you try to play it like as a PA speaker out in the field, not going to work. You play it in a big movie theater, probably not going to be enough power.
Yeah.
But in a realistic situation, in a normal room, I think people would be amazed how little wattage they actually need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as your amp doesn't turn off. I've been seeing people complaining about certain amps like with low they turn off, they go into protection.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
If it just doesn't play sound, that's not good. So
yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, I forgot to tell you. You know how you're doing your battery test with the with all the speakers and stuff that, right? And you're like, oh, you're saying that my battery is way too much, like I could power everything. Dude, I got that thing down to 7% in one night. Right. So
what were you running on that thing?
The 2 RCFs, 2 laptops, 2 DJ decks, a mixer, 55-inch OLED.
That's the OLED. That OLED is taking up all that power.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
So. I think if we were to break it down, if you took off the OLED and put that on something else, do the same test and then let me know how long.
I'm all done with weddings, thank God. I'm done. I'm done for the season, so I'll have to try it out next year. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So like the place that we were at was in this railroad museum, and I was just pulling power off of one of those old school buildings. I had 4 extension cords to get over to my station, and one of the guys helping, soon as like dinner started, everything went off. And then the guy that was helping, he's like, oh, maybe somebody tripped over the extension cord. Sure, because there's four of them, right? And he's like, dude, they're all plugged in. I'm like, screw it, I'll just run everything off my battery. And yeah, at the end of
It's
the
your
night,
moment to shine, Shauna.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
else is not working, but you're like, psh,
I got a battery. Yeah. Oh, and it also had market lights. The market lights that were around the area, those were also plugged in. So maybe it was those. I don't know. You know what those market lights are?
I have all these batteries and like solar panels.
Solar panels. Yeah, they're like, oh, the party continues.
Powered refrigerator. So I'm almost like, if the power goes out, let's test to see what we can do.
Yeah. How long can we survive? Right. Yeah. And dude, the one of the things we have a generator for these things because they turn the power off here all the time in the summer.
Mhm.
And the last time the power went out, dude, it took me like 45 minutes to get this generator up and running. I got gas on my hands and this, that, and the other. Run for 15 minutes, power goes on. I'm like, great. I should have just sat there and just done nothing.
Just waited it out. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious to see how much we can run off the battery.
Can we run through these questions real quick? All right.
Okay. 1 out of 2, tried the SACT test track on a 512 system. When audio comes from the surround right on the test, the audio comes 50% from the front speaker, 50% from the surround when the sound comes. 2 out of 2. From rear surround on the test, it 100% comes from the surround speaker. That correct for the 512? If so, does that mean the layout for Dolby Atmos speakers should be different? So you're running, so I know what's happening. You're running a 712 or 714 test track on a 512 system. So what happens is Dolby is matrixing properly, right? Because your surround is now the surround back, or the surround back is actually the surround. And this one surround that's supposed to be here in a 5-ear level speaker is now being imaged between the two speakers. So that's what's happening. So if you use a 512 test track on a 512 system, then you're going to hear it come from the surround speaker like you should. So that's what's happening. And it's funny because we actually had to fix the video to match the audio on that one before the disc was made.
So I guess the question was the first part was, is it correct for surround right to play 50% from front and 50% from surround?
Yeah, if you're putting the if it's God, I don't. It's easier to show it because I'm assuming that you're playing the 714 test track. If you're using the 714 test track on the 512 system, then yes, that will happen because in the Dolby Atmos renderer, where all the metadata is, the speakers or the sound's supposed to come from next to you, and since you're not running 3, let's say on the right hand side, if you're not, you said right, so you have your front right, your surround right, and your surround back right. So if you don't have this surround right here and it's back there, but you're playing the 714 track, you're supposed to hear a sound from here, and so both the front and the surround are going to try an image. So that's what's happening.
I would think actually 512. I feel like surround should always be coming from surround. So
like the back, like behind you mean? Or from the side, which one are you
talking about? Right next to you. I don't think it should be coming from the front and the surround. You know what? Let's just do this. Make sure to join us on our Discord group, and we'll see if there's any issues.
Yeah.
We'll run through various tests to see if there's an actual issue with the system or not. But I don't see why surround, dedicated sound coming from let's say right surround, should involve the front speaker at all.
Yeah, unless the speaker is missing and you're playing a higher bed layer. Do you get what I'm saying? You're playing an object.
Saying, but surround is always
but if it's 5.2, there is nothing in the middle. So if you put a sound in the middle, Atmos will try to matrix it. That's its whole point, right? It's the same thing I said with the front wides, right? If you don't have, if I put sound in the front wide location and you don't have a front wide there, I made a track to test it out, saying my voice should be in front of you. On
my system, if I play a 7-channel mix on a 5.1, then both the surround and the rear surround come from the same speaker. Nothing gets matrixed to the front at all. So if I play 5.1, right surround goes to right surround. If I play 7.1, right surround goes to right surround, and right rear surround also goes to right surround. Nothing happens. It doesn't move forward or anything like that. So
yeah, but
I mean,
in your but in your 5.2, but if you have 5-ear level speakers, you got to change cables and have that speaker behind you now. Because if it's, do you get what I'm saying? So there's no speaker there. In a 5.1 point and 5-ear level speakers, and the speakers are actually behind you and off to the side, there's no speaker next to you. So that's why Atmos is trying to matrix that sound between the two speakers available, which is the front right and the surround right that's behind you. There's no speaker there. It's just like with the front right. There's no speaker there.
Message us on our Discord group, because
see, I love it. I love talking to Joe and making sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's it doesn't know, first of all, your system, unless you're using one of these Sonys or Trinov or anything like that, has no idea where your speakers are. It's not going to do anything special, right? Yeah, I think right surround, no matter what, should always be coming from right surround, no matter what. And in the case of how it down mixes, if you don't have a right rear surround, your right rear surround will just get down mixed to the surround. It should not be using your front speakers. That's what I know.
That's what I want to see. Ooh, we got something to fight about. All right.
Yeah, no.
It's been a while. All right, let's move on. No media player yet. Have been doing some research. The Zune Dune, which model to get? Do I get a NAS? Can't make a decision. Yeah, it's very, very confusing. Very confusing. Kevin said SACT rules, but I would really like to have the, I think, right front be used to calibrate the right side of the room after calibrating the LCR. Chana, what's the chance if we big enough, can we get it?
Why don't you, if you really want to use your right, is it because it's your right speaker? I mean, you could do something where you could just switch, if you have just switch left and right, and you can use that as the reference. Typically left is the reference point, though.
I think Kevin was talking about, like, it's just, I don't know if it's his room. Okay. Better. Yeah. But yeah. What Joe's saying, you could just swap the left and right speaker terminals and you should be good to go. Do you guys think it matters if a subwoofer is just in the corner, or should be caddy corner?
Maybe?
Caddy corner.
So basically, should it be both in the front or one and then the opposite one in the opposite corner?
Maybe opposite.
It depends, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to fill any nulls that the room causes. So if you put them both in the same place, will that fill any possible nulls that you have? You have to really measure to figure out what's better, because it could be in a different room would say two different answers. Room dependent is the answer. So
here, this one's for Fred. If you're watching on anything less than 150-inch screen, you just don't have no visuals. Sorry, Fred. You almost made it. Let's see. Jeremy says the fall of the House of Usher on Netflix has Atmos that outshines a lot of physical media that I own. Streaming is catching up. Check it out. The fall of the House of Usher. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, he's always up on the newest. You should make a channel.
Dude, all you guys do watch a whole lot of movies and listen to a whole lot of Atmos mixes on Tidal and Apple Music and all the spatial stuff. So that's really cool to see, because we are still in the very, very small minority of people that actually have like a speaker setup, a speaker array for Atmos. When I was in that Atmos mixing masterclass, they're all talking about making it sound good on headphones. Like that is their like main goal, because the vast majority of people are going to be experiencing any kind of Atmos on headphones. Sadly, the home theater crowd for Netflix is different.
Yeah, that's different. So I've talked to the guy who is in charge of that division at Netflix, and their data shows that I don't know how they know this, by the way, but they say that most people that are watching Netflix are watching on TV speakers. How do they know that? I guess a survey, but it's not even soundbars. Not even a soundbar. TV speakers.
So the funniest thing, All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You go.
Okay, so one of Ryder's friends that was here when they were in high school and they grew up together, they came up and we went and had dinner, and he was just like, "Hey, Ryder, do you have a sound bar? You need to get a sound bar. Like, you're missing all this audio that it's so like watching TV or movies. You got to get a sound bar." And then I'm all laughing, and then Ryder's like, "Do we have a sound bar?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got one. I got a Dolby Atmos sound bar in storage if you want it." Like, we can do it. Huh?
Did you let him hear your system?
No. That kid has already heard it. He's been here for years, right?
So
Or like he's been gone for a couple of years. But I told him, I'm like, dude, if you like a sound bar, do you remember my system that was up in the living room? He's like, yeah. I'm like, wait till you get to there. Then you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is much better than a sound bar. So it's one of those things. I just thought it was funny. he's asking my kid if
me. I tell him what I do, right? And I'm like, yeah, I review home theater stuff, speakers, and like a couple times people are like, hey, do you get like sound bars? I'm like, yeah, that's what you want, all the things. Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's like streaming. Ease of use, convenience. Oh, by the way, for those of you wondering, Nakamichi is sending me a dragon. I told him to send it to Elon first, so it's going to go to Elon first and then me second, and maybe I'll just keep it. Maybe I'll just keep it. No, I'm just kidding. They'll probably want it back. But my thing is, I don't even know where to put it, dude. That thing's so huge. I'd have to get like some stands just to put it in the living room, and then the bounce won't work. But anyway, there's that.
Okay. What else?
Buying Blu-rays, biggest problem in Blu-rays. Does Magnetar play ISO? Bodhi. Yes, it does. In fact, the Magnetar 4K Blu-ray player, the UDP 800 that I have, will play ISOs over the network. So again, I said that in the video. It's distributed by the people that brought you Zapedi and the Revlon Blu-ray players. And the Magnetar is kind of like this thing in the middle here. It'll be a list, so no cool graphics and posters and all that shit. But it'll play ISOs at, I think, BDMVs. I'd have to recheck that, but it'll play ISOs. And it was playing ISOs over the network from my NAS faster than the Zapedi would. Like, the menu would load faster. Everything would be just faster. So maybe that's why they got rid of the Zapedi. I don't know. I also heard rumblings that there's a new Zapedi alternative coming out at the European audio show, French audio show. I don't know, some audio video show thing. I heard some rumors, right? Some rumblings. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. We'll see. Well, only time will tell. Let's see.
That one also uses the Realtek?
I don't know. I don't know what that one uses. Honestly, it has to use something like that. And it'll play everything else.
Now I'm starting to look on Amazon, like, what just has this Realtek chip?
Can you just search for Realtek?
Yeah, I just typed that in and like see what comes up. It's almost like, what's the least expensive device you can get?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, well,
I just typed it in, and the only thing that comes up is this Dune HD. It's got to be in the title, though, right? It's got to be in the title.
Yeah, Amazon search is pretty whack, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like, why can't I use like Boolean search where I'd say minus this? Don't show me anything with this. Anyway, that's a different topic. What else we got?
I think that's it. The other stuff is just regular, or I mean, it's just age. Crowson says had HBO Max for a year and watched 3 movies. Maybe could have purchased those movies and saved 8 months of fees, but you never know. I know.
That's the thing, man.
You don't know when the next season of Bachelor in Paradise where that's going to be, so you just gotta have all of it on there. Yeah. And this is all about streaming stuff.
Okay.
Any experience with tone winner subs? I'm seeing very little info on them. You know, Justin, I was wanting to get a tone winner amplifier just to check one out. And the whoever the US distributor person, I emailed him, but I got crickets, so I don't know. I heard about the subs, and they're very good price wise, but don't know.
All right.
Let's see. You guys want a sneak peek of something?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, wait. Speaking of the Magnetar, big shout out to Cody from the Home Theater Hobbyist. He just uploaded a video today.
Mhm.
And what do you see here, Joe? What do you see?
Ah, yes. Nice.
Yeah, good job, Cody. Thanks a lot. Hey, you guys, this is the big daddy to the version that I have. So give Cody's channel a subscribe. It's the Home Theater Hobbyist. And
I feel like we should use the Legos and everything. Like every video, he's got to bust out the
the
Legos.
Legos and the little Mickey Mouse in the chair.
I love that. That's such a good visual.
It's great. And you know, he probably just had that shit laying around. It's like my dumbass trying to make slides on like Photoshop, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so hard. All right, here it is.
All right.
Ready for the sneak peek? So I know everybody's like, oh, and I love it when I drop like one of these Atmos mixes that I've done. Oh, and you know what somebody else said? Somebody said, are you highlighting the fact that this song is in Atmos already on Apple Music or Tidal? Or is this your own mix? I'm like, oh, this is my own mix. But go ahead and compare the two. Let me know which one you like better, because that would be an interesting thing. But like I said, I always have something else in the works. So here's a little sneak peek of the visuals for the next almost done with. Of course, my patrons will get the sneak peek because my patrons have had that other one, Eat Sleep, since August. So
that looks cool.
Dude, it's trippy, right? The song's called New Gold, and you know, I have the guy make this, you know, it's a gold theme, and it's just this, like people said, it's mesmerizing. So there's your little sneak peek. New Atmos mix is already there. Maybe I'll drop it in December. I don't know. Maybe November. I don't know. Maybe for the holidays. Anyway, and I also have a nut dog, Joe. I got the next Atmos mix I'm gonna do after this gold one. Oh, dude, I got the stems for this from this remix contest. It's gonna be wild. Woo! I can't wait. You guys are gonna like, and again, 7.1.6. I think that's gonna be like the magic configuration for these mixes. But anyway, join the channel, bit.ly/Daily HiFi Crew, HTTPS.
I'm gonna try to fix that today.
And jump into the after show. And then if you notice, these guys have like green names by them and it says Hi-Fi next to them in the chat. That's because they are channel members. And we usually chat it up with them for a little bit. Oh shit, it's 5:45. I gotta go to sleep again.
All right.
And then if you like to listen to the audio version only, go to anchor.fm/Daily HiFi. And of course, if you want to support the channel, and go to shop.dailyhifi.com to grab some merch. And if you
another one.
No, and if you want to send us a super chat,
you can do that.
That's awesome too. So on behalf of myself, Joe, and Aaron, thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and try to be here for the show so you can ask your questions and get them answered. Oh yeah.
See you
next
guys.
week. Bye. Have a good week.